Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, this is Paul Clough of Personal Development Unplugged, where we deconstruct the complicated and make things simple, with simple processes to make change as easily and as comfortable as we can. Hey, my friend, have you ever had this experience? You're listening to something because you're interested in it, and you know I do a lot of listening like that, but you're listening to something and you thought, I'm going to learn something from this. And you did, but not in the way you learned, because you listen to it and you go, is that right? I don't think so. And it makes you explore what you think, to challenge what you think. Because it's always good to listen to the things that you're, I guess, not 100% in agreement with, to find out what is that basis. Because it may be that you don't know what you know, and in fact the things that you're being told is actually something that will change the way you think, change the way you believe, because you've come across something new. And I heard this thing about anxiety, and obviously this is the Anxiety to Confidence podcast, Personal Development Unplugged, and I thought to myself, listen to this thing about anxiety. Well, it's nice. I'll have a listen, see what I can learn, see if what goes in parallel with my thoughts, maybe something is going to change my mind. And it started off by saying anxiety is just a pattern in your neurology. And what they said was, if you simply interrupt that pattern, interrupt anxiety, then anxiety will disappear. What? So you just interrupt the pattern and it disappears? That didn't bode well with me. Didn't make sense. So I wanted to dive a little deeper. I know, as in NLP, we use a thing called a pattern interrupt. We interrupt a particular pattern, a strategy. It's like your unconscious strategy working away. Well, if we can interrupt that, a pattern interrupt, then we can interrupt that strategy. But just interrupting it doesn't work. You have to have something to come after the interruption. Like, I'm going on this direction over here to the left, I interrupt that pattern and I guide you to the right, on the right path, in that metaphor. Because I didn't get it. Because if you just interrupt the pattern, how long does anxiety go for? Because to me, there's a bloody good reason for having anxiety. And in some ways, I guess it stems from fight and flight. Flight is fear. And if you're anxious about something, it's your unconscious mind reminding you to be wary, reminding you to be safe. And if you just interrupt that pattern, what happens to safety? You're not acknowledging that positive intention behind anxiety. Yes, anxiety doesn't feel good. Sometimes we need that, but not continuously. And that's where the thing goes wrong. That's where the strategy goes a little bit haywire, because it's in a loop. It just keeps you making more and more anxious, because maybe we haven't learned, or maybe your unconscious mind is trying to do such a good of protecting you, and it's gone a bit haywire. But if we can learn the positive intention and where we created that anxiety, we call it the root cause, when we have what we need to learn, the emotion disappears, because you don't need to be anxious about something if you have learnings around that something. So I just thought it was interesting to share with you that you have to listen to other people's thoughts. You have to listen to their way of explaining things, or what they believe in, because what they believe in might just be right. And it will educate you. That's how we learn things, isn't it? We learn by learning new things, or learning things that change the way what we believe, or reinforce what we believe. As long as there's some data behind that and things like that. But this thing, I listened to it and I thought, not so sure. I like to learn things and honour what my unconscious mind is trying to do for me. Just also realise and acknowledge that you try to do a good job, my friend, but sometimes we just have to change because you're being a little bit too much on the anxiety side. But we're going to dive into that deeper. I'll go through root causes and and the positive intentions of having all these negative emotions. If I've done a lot of work on this already in the previous podcasts, in the episodes, but I just want you to have a little think. Thinking about, what is my unconscious mind trying to do for me by having me feel this way? Because if you can understand, if it's trying to protect you in some way, well, the one question we can ask ourselves is, how can I do it a different way that's even better, that feels comfortable? And I think that's the thing, that feels comfortable and gets the job done better, keeps the intention, but creates a better behavior, a better emotion. Because things like, instead of fear, awareness, being able to access everything you know, but being able to see everything that's going on, as opposed to being in tunnel vision that fear gives us sometimes. There you go. It's a longer 5-minute quickie. If it spurs you to think about something, please do email me, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. I just like your thoughts. And maybe there's something you really are anxious about that's giving you, a hard time. Let me know. And we'll run through that in an episode and create a way that you can learn and let it go. Wouldn't that be interesting? So if there is anything that you're anxious about, doesn't have a big description, just give me some good bullet points of, how you do what you do, how you feel. If you know there's a trigger, give me the context and I'll do the rest. And it'll always remain anonymous. We help each other by helping ourselves, remember that. Anyway, please do share this, because somebody else might have a fear, an anxious moment, some form of anxiety that they'd like help with. And they could do that same thing. Email me, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. So do share, have more fun than you can stand, and always listen. Listen to see if what you believe is on the righter side of right. You never know, you might just learn even more. Until the next time, my friend, have more fun than you can stand. Time to fly.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.